Hi, it's Simon here from Laney Amps. The main difference you have really is from a gain point of view. The preamp tube is important in the signal path because it is the first point at which the signal from your guitar is amplified. So you have a good opportunity there to impart a kind of a gain characteristic on the signal by using a particular type of preamp tube, be it an EL34 or a 12H7 or variations of those, each of which will have slightly different gain characteristics. If you want an amplifier which has a particularly clean sort of sound, then really your first point of amplification should be a relatively low gain preamp tube. You obviously, if you want something that has a little bit more gain in there, then the first point you have something which has more gain content, therefore you can drive the existing tubes harder. Power amp tubes, it's more fundamental about what sort of flavour of tone you want. If you think about the classic EL34 guitar tone, an EL34 guitar tone is a particularly British guitar tone. It has a slight mid-range scoop, which to European ears is quite a pleasing sound. The other main type of output tube is a 6L6. 6L6s are much less scooped from an EQ point of view. They have a much more flat frequency response. Now, if you think about the type of amplifiers that use 6L6s, if EL34s are a particular British European sound, then 6L6s are very much an American kind of sound. Almost to the extent that it used to be possible to put 20 guitar players in a room, play an EL34 loaded amp, play a 6L6 loaded amp, and then get people to stand next to the amps that they liked, and you could tell the nationality. So, EL34s are a bit more scooped, 6L6s have this bit more of a mid-range presence. So if you think about, the archetypal country style amplifiers that are very bright, and clean and have lots of headroom, versus the amplifier which runs a bit more darker in the mid-range, a bit more distorted, has a bit more of a rock guitar tone, then as with all things there are exceptions to every rule, but really if you think about EL34s as being a bit of a mid-range scoop, 6L6s as not having that mid-range scoop but quite a nice mid-range presence. And then you have variations of those. You have EL84s, which are in essence a small bottled EL34, so it has the same kind of mid-range scoop or recessed mid-range that gives you that pleasing sort of sound. And then you have iterations of 6L6s like 6V6 GTs, which are, I should say that the EL34 and the 6V6 GT are basically lower output power tubes with the same sonic characteristics as EL34s in an 84's example, or 6V6 GTs in regards to 6L6s. They just give amp builders just different options of producing power amps in smaller packages while still maintaining the same kind of broad sonic characteristics of an EL34 or a 6L6. And then obviously you have variations within EL34s, different grades, different bottles, that sort of thing, and the same within 6L6s. So if you look at those in more detail, there are lots of variations between the different types within the 6L6 family. But ultimately, as from a guitar player's point of view, you think EL34, reduced mid-range, 6L6, and mid-range content is still there, and that's it.